So everyone who's here, thank you so much for joining. Really excited that you chose to spend your Sunday evening with us. And I hope that this is going to be very educational, informative, and fun, which I think it will be. So let's get started with, well, first of all, just if you have any questions as we go along, just type them in, and every single person's question we will do our best to answer. So, take the opportunity that you have now to ask me any questions when it comes to like careers and, making a personal career decision. And then in terms of anything to do with digital marketing, Danny's here to answer any of those questions. He's the expert and will tell you more about why, where he comes from, what his background is, and how he came to be here. So I work with people who are making a career decision, either for the first time or when they're mid-career and they just want something that maybe is a little bit, will give them more flexibility, will use more of their talents, maybe they could do from home, or very often they want something where they can earn a lot more. So I have found myself recommending this career pretty often over the last year, and especially since I met Danny, which was in that time. And it's interesting because I've learned a lot more than I used to know about digital marketing. The more I learn about it, the more excited I am. And don't worry that I'm telling everybody the secret, because there's still so much room in the market for so many people to build incredible careers, based on this. One question that I often ask clients when I meet them, I just want to get some background, so I'll ask things like, what was your favorite subject in school, things like that. And I find it fascinating that very often the answer, and I think that you'll agree, those of you who are listening here, that you might feel the same way. People give me answers, there's always the standard, well, I was the math science, or I was the English history, right, one or the other. Maybe you're one of those rare people who has a combination of both, in which case this career would probably be ideal for you. But one of the most best answers that I get is, it depends who the teacher is. And I think that makes so much sense, because if you're learning from somebody who's generally excited about what they're doing, really good at what they're doing, you're going to approach it the same way. You're going to absorb the subject matter. And that's the main reason why I'm really excited to be here tonight, because if you have to pick, any teacher in the world to teach you digital marketing, I really think that Danny is the one who will give you the most passion, expertise, wisdom that you could get as you, make this decision, and if you choose to enter this field. So Danny, if you can give us a little bit of background. He has an amazing story, in my opinion, amazing career story of, what brought him to be the leader of Odeo Academy. So tell us, what brought you here to where you are today, offering this incredible course to people across the world.
Super. Well, Shana, thank you very much, first of all, for your kind words. I'm excited to be here as well. And it's so nice. We have such a large crowd. It's really, really exciting. So my background, I like to say that it started off, my parents immigrated from South Africa to Houston, Texas, which is pretty crazy. So we won't get into all the details, but I grew up in an immigrant family, and that is, really I learned what it meant to work hard, right? Because coming from a totally different country, it's pretty crazy. But to make a long story short, my parents launched their first website in 1999. And I grew up in sort of a technical marketing e-commerce sort of world. Eventually, later on, after I completed my smicha, which is my rabbinical ordination, I decided I didn't want to make money being a rabbi. So I decided, let's go to business school. And I got my MBA with a special focus in marketing. And during that time, I had a really good internship at a company called Blinds.com, which many years later was bought up by Home Depot. But that sort of like turned me on, like, wow, I really like this stuff. And I didn't end up getting a full-time job there. But once I left, I had a really good, close relationship with the CEO. And he started just sending people my way. Hey, I know this young guy, Danny, he knows digital marketing. He can help you out. And then over time, I went to another company. I helped build their digital department. And then eventually in 2017, I started my own agency, which I'm still running today. And we've been going now for 4 or 5 years, and thank God it's been very successful. But why we're here tonight is more about the education side. And that started in 2015. I always wanted to be go back to school and be a professor. And magically, I got an email from my professor back at University of Houston from 2010. They said, hey, Dan, we really want to up the education here at the university. When it comes to digital marketing, we don't just want these theoretical professors teaching things. We want people who actually do it to be teaching it. I'm like, awesome. I was expecting this to happen in 10 years, but if it's happened in 5, that's even better. And jumped on the opportunity. And I've been teaching now at U of H for 6 years, and please God, many years after that. But about a year and a half ago, I realized, hey, the subject matter that I'm teaching, I don't just want to keep it to people who are enrolled at University of Houston, but I think that I'd like to offer it to the world, and especially to the religious Jewish community, but it's not limited to them, but to many people as well. I felt like this is a wonderful job and a wonderful career opportunity for people, especially if they're at home, especially if they need more of a flexible schedule, and that's where Odeo was born.
Amazing. So it's like the best of both worlds. You get the person who's actually running the day-to-day agency, who deals with the clients, who knows what businesses want today, who's earning a living doing that, and then you have the professor who's really, was hired for the same reason that most of us don't, or, maybe we're here because we are concerned that college maybe isn't what it's all, marketed to be. And, it's not theoretical, but you're actually teaching students who go out and then have careers doing it. And I know from peeking around your website that you've hired some of your own students from University of Houston to work in your company. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's like 75% of my staff are ex-students of mine, which is pretty crazy. So some people might say the only reason I teach is to hire people, but I mean, maybe that's a little secret. But yeah, it's pretty awesome to be able to, to find people who are passionate and then be able to bring them into my company as well.
It's amazing. Okay, so I think a lot of people probably clicked on this ad and were generous enough with us to give us their time tonight because they saw like something about a new career and the words digital marketing sounds cool, but probably a lot of us don't really know what digital marketing is. I mean, even I think marketing is a little bit vague to people who aren't in the field. So could you define for us exactly what we're talking about when we say digital marketing?
Sure. So I guess let's start from marketing, right? So marketing basically means to position your product or service in a way and to let people know about it and to position in a way that it's going to reach out to the right people and the right audience. A lot of time there's people mix up sales and marketing, but we're not going to get into that. So when we talk about this marketing, about promoting our product or service, so now let's talk about digital marketing. Digital marketing means we're going to do the same thing, but we're doing it online. So the way I like to look at it is there's two sides of digital marketing. There's the Google side or the search side, and then there's the social media side, which would be like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all those fun things. So imagine we've got, two circles. So when we talk about the Google side, we're talking about people who are coming to Google and are proactively searching for something, right? And we all do this every single day. We don't think about it as like marketing, but that's just part of our life. Now in Google, there's two sides. There's the organic side, which means if you look at Google, it's at the bottom of the page. Those are results that pop up there based off of Google's algorithm. And you can't pay to get that, but it's based off, is your website clear enough to match what the person is searching for? And there's a lot of things that go through that. And then so that's the one side, the organic side of search. And then there's the paid side, which is at the top of the page, there's usually 3 or 4 ads. And those are also very powerful ways to promote your product or service. Not everyone clicks on ads, but that is the foundation of how Google makes billions and billions of dollars is through the ads. So they do work well. So just like how we have a paid and an organic component to search, we also have a paid and organic component to social media. So just like on social media, there's people who are posting on Instagram and on Facebook, and you don't really have to pay money for that. So that would be the organic side. So keeping up sort of what's going on with your business and creating that conversation with different people. And then in addition to that, there's also a paid side, which is all these platforms have a lot of data on people. And we know there's been problems with that in the past. And as the months go on, it's a little bit harder to use that data, but still we're able to take the data that these platforms have on people and target those people. So if I need to target people who like to mountain climb and they have 2 kids, I can really drill down on those types of people and advertise and market to them. So bringing it back all together, when we talk about digital marketing, it's talking about marketing people's products or services through one of these four channels. And it's really exciting.
Cool, amazing. And then also just to differentiate between marketing, right? So if someone's considering going to college for a marketing degree, and then they sort of probably thought of that in terms of doing like advertising campaigns, writing, maybe writing for those, big signs that you see on the side of the highway, coming up with just different advertisements. How does this compare? Is it the same thing, just what would be online, or is it completely different?
So that's a great question. So typically, if you're going to go to college and get a marketing degree or even an advertising degree, so remember, you're going to have your two years or 3 years of your basic, courses, math, science, all those things. And then eventually you'll get to the marketing courses. And typically at universities today, the marketing education is very general. So, I mean, obviously there'll be specific classes, but, there'll be the intro to marketing, and then there's sometimes classes about product marketing, advertising, communications, public relations. So we'll cover many, many different areas. Typically, what we find in most universities when it comes to the digital side, they're a little bit weaker in those areas. Now, there's some programs that do have a strong program, but in general, it's a little bit weaker. So the idea would be sort of what would be the difference between, let's say, the audio course versus let's say a traditional marketing degree, is that we're exclusively focusing on digital marketing. But within the digital marketing curriculum, we are touching upon many marketing ideas, like how do you position a product? Who is your target market? How do you know how to target one person over the other? What is the concept of a persona, building that ideal customer for you? So a lot of these are like marketing ideas, which in university, you'll learn about it generally. Here, it's just more in the context from a digital perspective rather than in general.
Amazing. And then before the end of this evening, you'll go through for us like exactly what it's going to cover. Is that right?
Exactly. So at the end of, a little bit later tonight, at the end of the webinar, we'll actually go through Odeo Academy and the actual course and cover all the specifics of what exactly is in this course.
Amazing. Okay, so stick around to listen and watch exactly, because you'll have that answer. Exactly really what's going to be covered in a way that it's going to be easier to understand than this, general what we're covering now. Now I had a really interesting conversation today with a friend who's, finished one career, sort of, stopped working for a couple of years, raising her kids, and then is looking to go back to school, and she was looking to a social work program. And she calls me and she's like, do you know that this master's degree is going to cost $56,000? I said, yeah, that's, she generally wanted a master's degree. She wanted me to be outraged, and I just wasn't, and I said, well, yeah, that's what degrees cost. Now, should she be going for that? Is there another option, separate conversation? But it's fascinating how degrees are still so expensive. And then, the rest of the conversation we were discussing, well, is it worth it, right? And I'm sure a lot of you are considering that, right? So I'm going to go put in 15 weeks and, whatever the price of this course is, and whatever it is today, you guys should know that I told Danny that I think it should be doubled. So, so get in before he takes my advice, because it's crazy what people I see are able to make when they're finished the course. We're discussing what you can make and what's a social worker salary. I mean, even in New York, starting off, it's under $50,000. I mean, and that's on a great, on a great day. It takes a bunch of years to build up into, just a general salary. And when you compare it with digital marketing, curious to hear, what Danny, it would tell us about how much you can make, but you could stop right now, open up your, another browser and Google digital marketer salary, because I did that just a couple of minutes ago. And the numbers that came up in my area, I'm in New York, where the very low end was 70,000, and then it went up over 180. And that was just like standard, right? And it's crazy to think about. What have you seen students who finish your program? And we're going to get to hear from students tonight as well, right?
Yes, we are. We have a couple students, so we're going to bring them on in a couple minutes. So we'll, so for those who are in the crowd and you guys have questions, not only can you ask us, but you also get to speak to people who actually have taken the course, which is pretty cool.
So what would you say? Are those numbers realistic? I mean, I saw that on Glassdoor, salary.com. Is that what you think?
I think so. Once again, it's important to understand that in New York or like, let's say East Coast, salaries might be a little bit higher than let's say the Southern, states, or it just really depends where you are. But in general, yes. I mean, I know people who've come out of my program and they've started at 60, 65. And I think maybe what we'll talk about in a second, Shanna, is that in addition to just getting a job, let's say at a company, but there's a couple different options of like where you can go, right? It's not just one sort of position, but I would say yes, starting would be like 60, 65, 70, and especially in the New York area. And the best part is that once you get in and you start to build up your expertise, then so many people want a good digital marketer. So there's the ability to move up those amounts really quickly and get high, right? And we know, like, if you were to get the top of the ladder, which would be like a CMO, a chief marketing officer, which wouldn't necessarily be just digital, but eventually if you got to that point, I mean, we're talking about 250, 300, 350, right? So the range and the possibilities is really great. But I think, like you said, Shana, the point is, once you get out into the world of digital marketing, it's a really great base of starting.
Right. Okay. So now, before we all get carried away with the salary, let's, I want to go back to my philosophy as a career coach, which is never look at the money. Right. So that was just like to let you know when you're making the comparison, but really it's not about the money, even though for a lot of us it is. And that's a big part of it. But the money is not going to be the thing that I think decides it for most of you, because you want to make sure that it's something that's a really good fit for you. You want to make sure that you have the right skills. You don't want to go into it and then not enjoy it. You don't want to go into it and not get a job because you just like really aren't the right kind of fit for it. So before we, get excited and Google away and start looking at jobs and get really excited, what kind of skills, have you seen in your own agency, in your own work, in collab with other digital marketers, and with your students, is the ideal profile? Now, I know that's not a great question, because I know there are a number of profiles, but if you had to pick like a couple of really important skills or character traits, what were they, for this to be successful in this field, what would you say they are?
Yeah, so I think like what you said. So first of all, the nice thing about digital marketing, let's say relative to an accountant, like I'm sure there's people who come to you, Shana, like, yeah, I want to do accountancy, I want to become an accountant. And there it's like a really specific profile. Like if you're not exactly that type of person, I don't know if it's the right career for you. But with digital marketing, the nice thing is it really spans across a whole spectrum of people, right? We've got the creative people, and then we also have the analytical people, and then we have everywhere in between. So when we talk about like different profiles, so creative people would be people who like to create ads or graphics or write content, or think about different concepts when it comes to videos. And and they may lean a little bit more towards, let's say, social media, but they could also do really good in Google Ads, because they're the ones who come up with creative ways to write ads or to design ads or come up with ads. And then on the other side with analytics, there's the nice thing about digital marketing is that we can track everything, right? So when you drive by a billboard on the BQE, right, in Brooklyn, like you can't really tell, how many people have saw this, how many people are buying those pair of shoes because they saw the billboard. But with digital marketing, it's all measurable, it's all tracking, and that's what's so exciting about it. So the fact is, we need people of analytical minds to analyze the data. Okay, how many people saw our ad? How many people clicked through? What was the cost of each of those clicks? And then now, how much were we willing to spend if I'm selling a $100 product? And the profit margin on that $100 product is $50. How much of that $50 am I willing to spend on ads in order to acquire that customer? So some of these sort of like concepts, there's also room for those analytical people. And the nice thing is that there's all these jobs in between. And what I think I like to say, and Shana, we haven't spoken about this before, but we spoke about this a lot during our course, is in general, when it comes to digital marketing or even marketing, most people are called a T-shaped marketer. And what that means by a T-shaped marketer is that most people are going to learn about each area of digital marketing and become familiar with each. And hopefully they understand it well. They might not either like it or they might not be really good at it, but they understand how it is. And they could ideally tell someone else what to do or see if it's being done in a wrong way, but that's not where their passion lies. But most people, they find that one area that really speaks to them. And that's what I want to be good at. And that's what we call the T. That's what they go deep down into. And that's what they become really the expert. So the cool thing is, once again, we have this whole top of the T with so many wonderful different options. Sometimes people get scared as, what? How am I going to be good at all of this? And the answer is, it's okay. You don't have to be, because most people, they're going to find their T. They're going to find that one area to go into. But the idea is you should still know each part, because you might have to deal with it in your job and, you know, speak to someone else, hire an agency, or so on and so forth. But most people, the way that they look is like that T.
That's cool. Let me ask you a personal question. Do you fall into that T, or because you're a teacher, so you like all the parts equally?
No, I would say even I fall into the T. So the example that I would give for me, at least, is when it comes to SEO, which is, remember, is the organic side of search. That's kind of my passion area. So that's where I usually speak about more, and I get a little more animated, and that I love. So I would say even I, right, I have that T. I've got that one area that's like, that's the one that I'm going to go completely. But especially, you know, I'm running an agency. I have to hire people. I have to know whether people are doing good things or not. And then I also have to teach the course and make sure that I really understand. So I have to make sure that that really good foundation, but still, even me, I've got that one area.
So interesting. Okay. So then in terms of making like when people are here making a decision, would you say, and I'm hearing this pretty clear, tell me if I'm right, if you are considering a degree in marketing or maybe even an MBA, right, and you're not sure which direction you want to go, this might be the right thing for you.
Totally. Because the nice thing is that from a cost perspective, it's way, way less, right? But it's going to give you that ability to really taste each part of digital marketing and see what really works for you. And the wonderful thing as well that I'd like to say is then the nice thing about digital marketing is you don't necessarily need a degree, because when people are looking for digital marketers, it's not the degree, it's really, do you know the stuff and can you do it? Now, obviously, there'll be certain companies where like the minimum requirement is a degree. And I have a guy in my team who's like, well, do they have a 4-year degree? And I'm like, I don't care if they have a 4-year degree, who cares? But so there will be those companies, but there's plenty of companies that it's more about, do you have the knowledge? Do you know what to do? And it's not necessarily about that. So to answer your question, because I kind of went roundabout, yes, if you're not exactly sure what to do and you're like looking at a marketing degree or an MBA, this is sort of a way to jumpstart that and figure out exactly what's that passion and what you're going to be happy with.
That's incredible. In terms of what kind of jobs, right? Because, you know, I've told people you can do this if you want to work from home, but really it's not limited to people who want to freelance. There's really a couple of kinds of jobs that you can get once you're finished this course. So what would those be? Like, what would some options look like?
Yeah, so I like to put it into 4 categories. The 4 categories that sort of the jobs would be, number 1 would be that you would go and work for a company, right? So imagine shandleswigs.com, right? And they need help to sell their shatels. So you can go there and do their digital marketing. Then there could be an agency, which means like a marketing agency, like that I have, where you do marketing for multiple companies. So you could go work for a company like that and do marketing for many companies. Then you could be a freelancer, like you mentioned, where we've had some people, and we actually have someone today who decided to become a freelancer and go ahead and start getting your own clients, doing your own thing. And then finally, we even have people who run their own business, and they need to either, if they're early on, do the digital marketing themselves, or they'll hire someone, or they'll, even if they don't hire an individual, they may hire an agency. But sometimes agencies can really take advantage of you. And therefore, to just have the knowledge of like what is right, what is wrong, what should you do is extremely helpful for these types of people.
Wow. Okay. So there are a lot of options. So for the kind of person who I speak to often, and maybe some of you, maybe you want to start off, you know, working in a company, you know, a regular 9 to 5, or maybe you can find a part-time job and you don't want the responsibility of the whole digital marketing on your own, you know, and you want the working with a team. Maybe you're more extroverted, and part of, you know, why you're going to work is because you want a social life. But then you could always take clients on the side. You could always, you know, move and live somewhere, you know, where you wouldn't necessarily be near the clients, but then be able to continue working with those people as a job, or taking on your own clients in whatever area you decide to specialize. So there's just like a lot of flexibility, and you could change, as our lives change, generally our careers need to change along with, families and locations and things like that. So it seems like it would really fit in, and you could constantly tweak that just to fit your lifestyle.
Yeah,
Amazing.
exactly.
So tell us, like, what's a day in the life like? I'm just trying to envision like coming to work at your agency, and what exactly would I be doing?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. So once again, there's lots of different areas, right? But like an example would be you come in, you realize that it's going to be Halloween at the end of this month, and therefore we need to start figuring out what sort of campaign are we going to launch, right? So we're going to create a landing page on the website, which would just mean a page on the website with specific offers, add graphics, and then we're going to decide, okay, what are the ads that we're going to write on Google to promote these costumes or these products, and how are we going to differentiate ourselves, right? Because there's 500 other costume companies. How are we going to look any different? So I might go through that and then figure out, okay, that's great. Now, what are we going to do about social media? What are the posts that we're going to do? How often are we going to do them? Which products do we want to highlight on Instagram? Should it be the red dress or the yellow dress? Which one do we think is going to do better? And then realize, oh, okay, but we also have a blog. So what are the keywords that we should use in our blog to make sure that it's going to show up on Google for what we want, right? So should it be scary masks or funny masks? Which one is harder? Which one is more competitive? And then we go and say, okay, now when we talk about a scary mask, what are the 5 different ideas that we should speak about? Let's do the research and see, okay, the articles that rank #1 on Google, they talk about these 5 areas. Let's make sure that we speak about these 5 areas as well. And then later on in the day, you might, you're going to be dealing with clients as well. So you might get a client who calls in and said, I'm so happy. We had such a great month last month. And then sometimes we'll have clients who call in and say, hey, I want to kill you. What did you do? But that's life. So once again, this is not necessarily one person doing all of these things, but it's an example of some of the ideas and situations that you would be in. But overall, the nice thing about digital marketing in general is like there's lots of different areas. So people who like to be, they get bored easily. This is a great opportunity to do different things and kind of spread your day. And especially if you're an agency and you're working with different companies, you'll have the chance, you might work on some boring oil and gas companies, but then you might work on some really interesting workout programs for moms who are pregnant. So there's lots of different options.
Amazing. Okay. So by the way, those of you who are typing questions, raising your hand, we see you and it will be addressed. We're just going to cover a couple of things and have a few more people on who we're going to speak about, having gone through the course. So just don't think we're ignoring you. What else did I want to ask you? The day in the life, right? So as I was listening to you speaking, I'm thinking like it's a little overwhelming. Because would I really learn how to do all those things in 15 weeks? And do I have to do all those things?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. So the example that I gave was really like joining a bunch of people together. It's not one person. But I think the idea is when it comes to like the course in the 15 weeks, you are going to get a lot of tools. But once again, it's not just sitting back and like watching videos like Netflix and just chilling, right? It's about putting in the work and really working hard, because there's also going to be homework assignments and things like that. And if you really apply yourself and you really jump into it, then yes, you are going to have that amazing foundation. And with that foundation, like any sort of scenario, you're not going to be amazing in day one, right? You're not going to suddenly be an expert, but it's going to be a way for you to put your foot in, to get that foot into the door, to start this amazing career. And sort of the crown jewel of the course is the fact that in the last 4 weeks of the program, we don't do any new studying, but we set aside four weeks to specifically take everything that we learn and we apply it to a real life business, so that by the end of the course, you have it could be a 30, 40, 50 page final project that shows that you really understand everything and that you've done it practically for something. So you can literally go to someone and say, hey, I've done this before. I know what to do. Give me a chance. Let's do it. So yes, you're not going to necessarily be the best digital marketer in the world, but like I like to say is that I try to take a year-long internship and stuff it into 15 weeks.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so I would love to hear from some of the people who've gone through your course and hear what they have to say.
All right, cool. So I'm going to bring them up. Give me a sec. And if there's anyone else here from the course that I don't know about, feel free to message, and we'll bring you up on stage as well. All right, so I think, Shayna, should we do quick intros?
Yeah, please do. Go ahead.
All right, super. So Chaya, why don't you go first?
Hi. I'm just gonna say hi to Aurora and Yisrael as well. We've seen you and I took the course after both of you, so we've seen you in the I guess in the videos. So that's cool to say hi to you guys.
So they're like rock stars and legends.
Yes. After you, but my name is Chaya Nasi. I am a mom of 4. My husband is in Kollel, so that would translate into like someone who's never home. I don't know, maybe a doctor. But I'm basically he comes home in the evenings for a little bit, but basically I'm very busy, and I was able to take this course. I was able to do it. There were some times where it was stressful, but I don't know. I can't say it was too crazy. I enjoyed it. I wrote down some notes. One thing that I want to say is I'm a makeup artist, so I'm more of the artsy type creative. And when I looked over the overview, I was like, I don't understand a word of this. How am I going to do it? And at the end, I went and looked over the overview again, and I was like, wow, I actually know everything on this. So even if you're scared, if you don't understand the wording, you're going to understand it. I've never done this before. It was the first time. So I did it. I enjoyed it. What else? I want to say that Danny and everyone that's helping us really want us to succeed. I felt like I was always listened to. I was always given answers, help, whatever it was. Another thing, I wrote it down. Whichever group you're part of, that means you have a whole support group. Like you can keep in touch with them. I was part of a women's group. I'm still in touch with them. Yeah, we love talking about what's going on. I started my own website just even for like the final project, and like still I have friends that are like, oh, how's it going? And they signed up to my emails and stuff. So that was cool. I think no matter how busy or not busy you are, you'll do it. You'll enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's awesome, Kaya. And I think it's the coolest part about you was like, you literally came with like 0 experience and you jumped in, and like, it's crazy. Like you literally said, hey, I'm going to build my own website. Right. So, and which is not technically part of the course, but you were inspired to be like, hey, I want to do this, which is amazing. It's remarkable.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Aurora.
Hey, everyone. My name is Aurora. Danny said that he comes from a family of immigrants. I am an immigrant. I come originally from Spain. I've been living in the US for many, many years, but I'm still an immigrant. So I completely understand when Danny was saying that, working hard and trying to make your way in this country. But anyway, my background is basically in journalism. So I'm very familiar with content and content creation and how to deal with positioning messages and stuff like that. By the time I made the decision to take Danny's course, I had some experience with PR and social media for brands, particularly with an agency. And we used to call that digital marketing in the agency that I was working for. And then, I realized, well, I really don't know anything about digital marketing. So I always tell this story, and that actually hopefully will help many of you or most of you who are interested in taking the course to make a decision. I was very aware of the fact that this was the career of the future. and that I needed to be prepared for it. Disclaimer, knew Danny from a previous job, and I was always super impressed with Danny from minute one. So when it came to the point last year when I had to make a decision about, okay, so how am I going to prepare myself to be a digital marketer? I had a Columbia University digital marketing executive course aligned. So I signed up for that because at that point, I didn't know about Danny's course, right? So here comes Danny and, opens his Audio Academy for everyone who's interested. And I was like, oh, shoot, I already signed up for Columbia University's digital marketing course. So I said, okay, no way, I am not going to miss Danny's course. I knew that it was going to be amazing. I signed up for both. I did both at the same time. And I always tell this to Danny, and it's absolutely true. The Columbia University marketing course was amazing. I learned a lot about marketing in general, funnels, and all these funny terms that you will end up learning about as well. But the fact that I did Danny's course actually was a blessing, because that was the one that actually gave me the tools to be a digital marketer. And I can tell you right away, if it wasn't because of that, to this day, I will be sitting here without knowing really what to do with digital marketing. So it has been so important for me and so important for all the other peers in the same class, in the same cohort, that I know have been super successful in different ways. I think we're going to hear from Israel in a minute. And to the point that my job that I have right now, that actually started a month ago, I got because in my interview, I was able to answer a lot of questions about digital marketing. And I was very sure that if it weren't because I took the course with Danny, I would have not been able to do that. And you will be so happy to learn terms like website audit. What is that? PPC, what is that? So it gives you a sense of really being in control, knowing your stuff, being ready for any interview down the road, being ready to go as a freelancer, being ready to do your own gigs with different clients. There is a big myriad of things that you can do. And the other important thing is that Danny holds your hand all the way. So when he says that you don't need previous experience or previous knowledge, he's not kidding. That is absolutely right. And he's so invested in his students that really creating a group for all of us, as Chaya was saying, so we can communicate with each other, kind of exchange comments, questions, answers with each other, but also always getting back to him if we have any questions that we need help with. That for me is precious. And I will just end up by saying, and I always tell this to Danny, that all the weekends that I invested in watching those videos were much, much better than watching Netflix episodes. So with that, I'll leave it there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thanks, Aurora, and congratulations on your new job. I'm really excited for you. All right, Yisrael.
Hi, welcome all. So basically the way how I got into digital marketing and to Danny's course was basically, I have a friend who has an e-commerce website, and I was trying to help him on this. He's a big seller on Amazon. I was trying to help him on the Shopify website to get in sales and build up his own website. So it was tough going because there was so many new concepts to get to know, and so many. I remember researching, for instance, how to do keyword research, and I was like sitting maybe a day or two, maybe 10 hours, but somehow I couldn't get it straight. What are the steps? How do I need to do it? And then when I joined Odeo, it was like so simple. Then he just gave us simple steps to follow. There was like a process, and it was amazing. I also remember like researching, okay, what tool should I use for keyword research? Should I use this tool, that tool? There was like another few hours went just for that. And that was also very simple with the course. Then he just gave us like, okay, this is the best tool. And he even explained us what are the differences between that tool and the other tool. And it was extremely simple and straightforward. So it's basically whatever we needed to do digital marketing was simply put in front of us and simple process, and it was extremely simple. Also, I remember the weekly Q&As with Danny. He just answered any question we had, and he explained it as long as everyone understood it. It was amazing.
And
part of
Yisrael, why don't you tell everyone, so what are you doing now?
I was gonna get to that.
Oh, okay, sorry. I want everyone to know.
Yeah, so basically when I started taking the course, I had a full-time job and I was doing the course at night, and then I still had to do the marketing for my friends for e-commerce. So that was like a full day. I would say maybe week 8, somewhere around that time, I decided that I can do digital marketing for a full time, and I quit my full-time job. And since then, I'm focusing full day on digital marketing. And thanks to God, I'm like getting the clients. I'm starting to set up my own shop or freelancer or whatever we want to call it. And so far, I'm on the right track. I'm happy that I joined Oreo. I think it was the right decision and the best thing that happened to me.
Awesome. And
And one more-
Yisrael, and
Okay.
the best thing, I love to tell people this specifically with you, Yisrael, is I remember like you emailed me, it's like, Danny, am I really going to learn anything? Like you told me at the beginning, it's like, I pretty much know everything already. Like, am I really going to? So I think that was my favorite.
Yeah, I have to add that you can probably find all the information out there in this time and age, but to have it like, okay, I need to do this, and then I know everything. It's like having everything in a course and knowing what you have to do and not just do research on everything and anything. That's amazing. Like getting all the information together in a nice way. That was amazingly cool. And that is at the end what got me into digital marketing.
Super. Thank you, Yisrael. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Aurora and Chaya. All right. So Shana,
Thank you.
should we jump into some questions?
Can I say something
Yeah,
very
sure.
quickly, Danny? Because I see that there is someone here saying that as a business owner, I need to understand about digital marketing and not necessarily be the digital marketer, Ezra. So one of the things that I want to point out is in my job now, actually, I need to supervise an agency that works with the organization that I work for. And the fact that I did this course just let me, I just came from day one. I did audit everything that they were doing. And I said, this is a joke. You don't know about SEO. What you're doing with PPC is not right. And I was very surprised myself that I was able to sit down with an agency that is doing digital marketing for this organization and tell them, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. I want to see this, and that. I can tell you, if it weren't because I took this course, I would have never been able to have that conversation. So definitely very important to understand what's going on.
Wow. You have such great students. It's so cool to actually hear from them.
It's real, Shana, isn't it?
It's amazing. Yeah. And I love how each of them has another story. And each person's doing what they want to do. I mean, each of them is so inspirational. And I feel like, you're giving us each the message that like, oh, okay, that could be me too. Because, I love how you're all being so, you're like being so honest. Like, I didn't know this. And now it's crazy to see the transformation. It's wow. Anyone who has students like this, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I have to go, but really, if you're thinking about it, you should jump for it. It's a wonderful course, and have a good evening.
What's your website?
Bye. I'm still working on it.
Oh, okay.
So we can share it with everyone when it's ready.
It's called Skin by Chaya, SKYNE. I'm having some issues, but I'm working on it. So
okay, amazing. So we'd love to check it out when it's ready.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks for coming, Chai. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, so maybe if you can just get to like breaking down the course. And I really appreciate what I think it was Aurora who said, no, it was Chaya, I'm sorry, who said that when she was reading through it, it made no sense to her. And now she's reading through it again and it made sense. So as you're listening, don't worry if you don't understand what the words mean. I don't either. But trust that if you do the course, you'll have this whole new vocabulary.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Let's jump into what the course consists of. And then if we have more questions, we can always jump at the end. So Yisrael and Aurora, if you guys want to go, you can. I really, really appreciate you guys joining. And it's so nice that you've been able to give your perspective to everyone.
Thank you.
We are big fans. My last thing that I want to leave everyone with this. the investment in this course is not just about what you're going to learn, it's the gift that keeps giving. So to this day, when I have doubts or when in my job, I need to review something that I forgot, I go back to the videos and I literally review those videos. And then I say, oh yes, now I remember it. So it's literally like a tool, like a working tool that you're going to have forever to go back to when you have a job, or if you have your own agency, or as Israel said, your own freelance shop going on. It's always there for you as a backup. So it's definitely, for me, is one of the best investments ever. So hopefully you will jump into it, as Shaya said.
You're
Thanks,
such an
Laura.
inspiration. And also, one of the questions I had for Danny that I forgot to ask earlier, you answered for us, Aurora. My question was, people are going to be comparing courses, right? We all Google, we don't just take someone's word for it. We need to know what Google thinks, right? So, I've had people who are asking me, well, how do I know that's the best course out there? I'm sure there are so many. And I mean, your example, comparing Columbia with this, and the way that you explained how it showed up in an interview, that's just like the most amazing thing to hear. I love that.
I also think that, and I will leave you with this because I know that you're running out of time, but the other big asset, and I'm not saying this because he's here, but it's completely true, is that Danny is behind it. Danny is literally someone that will support you every step of the way. He's so dedicated to the students, but also, I don't know, maybe because you're a rabbi, Danny, I don't know why, but he has this way to read into every single personality, and he knows very well what each one of us needs. And I've ended up having conversations with Danny about, hey, I'm not sure, I'm not self-confident enough to pursue this particular job. And Danny will be there and say, no, you can do it. You need to believe in yourself. I have to say, again, best investment ever. So guys, go for it. You won't regret it. And hopefully you will be the next cohort. With that, I'm leaving.
Thanks, Aurora.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. All right, Shana, can you see the slides? Super. Okay. So more about the course. So Odeo offers you a winning combination of theory, hands-on skills, and community. And I think when we heard the students, we really got these 3 points. So number one, it's 11 modules of engaging high-level content, which is going to happen over 11 weeks. The big part is that supportive community and cheering for you mentorship. We have a Slack channel. For those who don't know what Slack is, it's like WhatsApp, but a lot more organized, so that you literally feel like you're in the classroom and you're there. And if you have questions, you ask me, you ask my Rifki, who's also part of the course, and she works for me, and it's amazing. So you create those relationships even outside. You're not just watching videos, right? So although it was compared to Netflix, but it's not just videos, you're actually getting homework and you have to work on what you're learning. So that's the 11 hands-on weekly challenges. And then once again, we mentioned this a little bit, the final project is where you're consolidating everything together. So when you think about it, you're actually going over the material once when you're watching the video, second time when you're doing the actual homework, and the third time for the final project. And most people will go over it a couple more times as well. But it's really like ingraining it into you so you really have a good understanding of what's going on. So taking a look at the syllabus and actually looking at what we go through. So the first half is SEO focused. So the first week we learn about what is SEO, and we learn how to do keyword research. And keyword research is the sort of the foundation of building a website, writing content, and getting found on Google. Then we learn about on-page SEO. What are the things that you do to the website in order to make it more visible to Google? Technical SEO is a hard week, but it's really cool because it gives you an appreciation of all the things that go on in the back end and what you need to do in order to make sure that everything's okay. Then week 4 gets to more of a creative side. We learn about internal linking and content marketing. How do you write content? How do you know who to write for? What are the topics that you should write about? We learn about primary content and secondary content and how those play a role in your website and in engaging visitors. Week 5 is the last week of SEO, where we learn about external links, where it talks about getting links from third-party websites to link back to you, because those are like votes of confidence, and that's part of the SEO algorithm. We talk about outreach. How do you get links? How do you do PR and public relations? How do you make a name for yourself? And then as well, for those companies who focus on local SEO, sometimes you'd say, I need a barber near me. And then a map pops up and you see who are the closest barbers. How does that all work? Then we move into analytics. And really in analytics, we learn if you're going to run marketing campaigns, how can you measure what you do and how can you measure your success, especially for those people who do social media. Often social media is just about how many likes and follows, but how can you do social media in a way that you're actually measuring results? And so that's a pretty cool week. We also push people to do the Google Analytics certification that week as well. So you get other certifications while you're doing the course as well. So sort of a side point. We then go into Google Ads, how to set up, run, and optimize a Google ad campaign. That takes place during week 7, 8, and 9. Week 10 is when we focus specifically on Facebook and Instagram ads. So I have a lot of people who say, hey, in my community, social media is not really allowed. I don't even know if I want to touch it. So we don't really go into social media as like that. Here, we're just talking about running ads. And so in that kind of situation, at home, you don't need to have the social media. But when you go to work, you can at least run ads on social media. And once again, that might not be the area for you, so that shouldn't scare you. Week 11, we've got a ton of bonus content where we go deeper into SEO and Google Ads, which is PPC, and Facebook and Instagram. You kind of choose your own path and your own adventure, or you can learn all of it. And then week 12 to 15, that's when you put your final project portfolio all together. So what's in the course, kind of like pumping it in your head? We spoke about it. We're going to look at it one more time in a different perspective. We have 11 weeks of graduate level content, right? What I teach at the University of Houston to master's students, I'm teaching to you as well. It's the exact same thing. 11 graded challenges. So the homework you're not just doing, but we're actually grading and giving you feedback, which is a lot of work, but that's the way we want you to understand what you're doing. There are quizzes at the end of every module. They're multiple choice, but it's just to make sure you're going through. We have live Q&A sessions once a week. Bonus classes. When you're doing things, there's templates so that you're able to do the work on your own. We push you to do certifications in Google Ads and Analytics as well. And those are offered by Google, but people don't think about it. This one in yellow is a new one where we have a special partnership with Acadian, which is kind of an internship platform. So if you take the Odeo course, you get a special badge on the Acadian platform in order to get an internship. So we can talk about that more about that another time, but my goal is that every single person who comes through, I want to make sure that you get an internship as well, right? Some people can get jobs right away, but for those who need a little bit more experience, I'm pushing you straight into internship, and that doesn't cost anything. And we've already had people in the course who've taken that and have loved it. You have lifetime access to all classes and recordings. So if you're like Aurora and you're sitting in your office a year later and you forgot what to do, it's okay because the videos are still there. And anything directly related to the content, if there's an update, I will go in and I'm going to add in new videos as well. You have that portfolio, you get free access to a really cool tool called SEMrush. We have that Slack. Depending on if you do the final project or not, you get a completion badge or a certification badge. I decided that I want, some people didn't want to do the final project for different reasons. So I still wanted you to get something. So for those, get a completion badge. For those people who have done the final project, they get the complete certification. But either way you go, you're going to get something that you can put on your LinkedIn profile and be very proud of what you've accomplished. And the most important thing is it's what I've used to teach my own employees. So that helps. So this is just some of our bonus content. We have some guest speakers. I actually have some new content these cohorts, but it's not ready yet. So let's go to Iz's course for me. We did speak about this a little bit, but just to take it from a high level view, if you think you can master a challenging and technical skill set while scrolling through Instagram on your phone and kind of not paying attention without investing about 10 to 12 hours on average each week for 12 weeks, and that shouldn't scare you. Some people, they do it in 6 hours, but some people take 12. Some people want to do it in 12 because they love it so much. It really depends. But the idea is you can't just sit back. So the idea would be you would spend some time on Sunday, you'd spend 1 or 2 hours a night, and you got to commit, right? Because this is not simple things, but we're giving you the tools to learn and to get there. And by skimming the reading materials just on Shopify. So if you can't commit to these sort of things, then Odeo is not for you. But if you're the type of person who thrives on challenging themselves and exploring new ideas, if you're curious and you're motivated to apply your mind, and you're looking for a fun, fulfilling, and dynamic skill set, which is going to promise you more money, more control over your time, and more potential for growth, then Odeo is perfect for you. And I can't wait to get to know you so you can join the course. So if you're ready to embark on a meaningful and challenging career as a digital marketer, content-only courses where you're just watching videos, they can begin at $2,000. University level courses are like $5,000 just per semester. But like Shayna said, she just spoke to someone who's taking a master's and is dishing out 50K. So, right, it's a lot of money. So with Odeo, this is what our pricing looks like. So we have two different tiers. We have the Pro tier and the VIP tier. Pro is going to be the base price, $24.95, or 4 payments of $625. So that way you could pay over 4 months and it's a little bit easier to handle. We also have the VIP, which is about $1,000 more, but it gives you a bunch of extra add-ons. Yes, there's a Slack channel for everyone, but for VIP users, there's a special private Slack channel so you can get your questions answered first. Priority access to any leads and job opportunities. One thing we didn't speak about, but Shayna helps me a lot on this, is Shayna will often send people my way. Hey, Danny, there's people looking to hire, right? So all the time, I feel like, once or twice a week, I'm posting job postings. So just something to keep in mind, that's extra. An hour career coaching session with me, detailed resume critique, and then 4 hours of mentorship sessions. And a lot of people, why they like that is, once you finish the course, let's say you're like at your job and you have questions and you want to do things with a little more insight, obviously you can always come back to me later. But if you want to lock in like a really good deal right now, you would get 4 one-hour sessions with me. So that's the VIP. So here's an important thing. We do have a risk-free 100% guarantee, because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, how do I know if I'm going to like this? What do I do? So I'm so confident in the value of this course that I offer a full money back guarantee within 14 days of starting the course. So that means you basically take 2 weeks. And now how it works is you have to go through all the modules. You have to complete everything. And if you've done that all and you still don't feel like it's for you, then you just have to contact me and you're going to get 100% of your money back. And yes, even in the past cohorts, there have been some people like that, and it hasn't been a problem. But there are people who say, hey, I don't like this, but they never tried. If you never try, then it doesn't work that way. So the idea is if you try and you put all in and you still say, oh, I don't know if this is for me, then no problem. There's always a way out. So the big question, when does it start? So we have 2 cohorts. We have the woman-only cohort, which Chaya was part of, which is going to be starting October 17th, which is a week from tonight. Then we have a general cohort, which is open for both men and women. However, as of now, there's no women who have actually applied to that. And therefore, I think I'm going to make it a men's only course. And that's going to be October 19th. That might move a little bit depending on how many people we have there. But in general, it's going to be somewhere between next week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that we're going to be starting that course. So if you have any more questions about the general cohort, you can feel free to contact me and I can give you more information about that. So it's really a once in a lifetime opportunity. I guarantee that you'll never get access to this exact course again for this price, because Shayna all the time says, Danny, it's too cheap. You got to raise the price. So we try to raise it a little bit higher each time. So the idea is the price that you see now will definitely not be the next time we do it. And there's no guarantee when we're going to open up the next class and what the price will be. So just some testimonials. I know we're running a little bit late. So, just some, we're not going to go through everything, but I think we've seen, like, this is just an interesting line. Like, as a single parent, it wasn't easy for me to juggle this class. However, when I was able to apply myself, I found that I was using my creativity and logic and that I was truly grasping these formally foreign concepts. Going forward, Odeo is giving me exciting new knowledge and so on and so forth. So the cool thing is, like, as you can see, lots of different people have taken it. And even if you're in a situation where you're a single mom, you've got 2 kids, and then life is crazy, but she was excited and she wanted to do it as well. I was thankful to join the Odeo Academy Women's cohort. This was a cool one. With Danny's help, I was offered a full-time SEO PPP position in a real estate management company. Which was really cool. She was super aggressive. I would say she was sort of like the top student, and man, she got into a full-time job right away, right? So once again, it's not guaranteed that will happen, but for this person, it did, which is really, really cool. And the idea is that the potential is there for every individual. This one's a little small. I can barely read it, but you can see that this was when they finished their final project. Thank you so much for this amazing course. I've learned so much and hope that I can apply it properly and create a business out of this, which was their decision. Like, hey, I actually want to do this on my own. And then finally, you guys just met Aurora, but this is when Aurora actually sent me this. She wrote, I was going to tell you this and I forgot. I learned a lot about marketing theory with Columbia, but your course is the one that has given me the tools to execute. So when I saw this, this really made me very happy. It's exciting.
So I want to just cover, we have a couple of questions. I want to make sure that we get through everyone's really good questions. And I think for every question we have here, probably a lot of people are wondering the same thing. So should we start with that?
Yeah, let's do it. So we're a little bit late, but once again, anyone who wants to stay on, you can. If you have to hop off, there will be this will be recorded and we will be emailing it out tomorrow. So if you feel like you've had enough for now, or you want to stay on longer, either way, but you'll get a copy of this tomorrow.
Amazing. Okay. So, the questions, let's just go in order. So how much is the training for digital marketing? What's a typical salary per job? So I think we covered that. She's asking also, is it an hourly job or per day job? I guess it's like a one-time thing, or could it be hourly? And how does copyright fit into digital marketing? So a bunch of different questions.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, so I think, so interestingly, Shayna, so your sister, she's looking for someone right now. And
right.
the way that she's positioning it is, we're going to start off hourly, right? Let's start off with like a certain amount of hours a week. And if that looks good, we'll pump it up, right? And it'll become a full-time. So there's those types of opportunities. Then there's opportunities where it's full-time. And then if you're going in, and then there's for sure, I'm sure there's part-time options as well. Let's say those moms who can't do a full-time job, but they're looking specifically for part-time. And then if you're a freelancer, then you kind of make your own schedule. So I think that's good.
And I wanted to mention this, just how many, I think it was just since Wednesday, maybe like the end of last week, I had posted about Danny's course, and he already has such a reputation with business owners that I think it was 3 or 4 business owners. One of them was my sister, but a couple of other really well-known names who reached out to me like, hey, how can I get some of Danny's students? So they're in real demand. It's amazing. And the other thing is that anytime that I, suggested to somebody, oh, why don't you speak to Danny? And I shot an email, usually you would think that the person who's excited to have the chance to speak to Danny is going to be the first one to respond. I think every time without fail, Danny is the first one to answer the email and sure, let's hop on a call. He's so available and just so easy to talk to. And I'm sure that you see that in the course as well. Okay, so the next question is, how many hours a day could you work full time and still do this?
Yeah, totally. I mean, look, if you have, because when I initially advertised the course, I said 6 to 8 hours. It looked like most people were pushing more to 10 to 12. So, but the answer is I worked full time doing my MBA, and it was hard, but that's life. We have to try to find a way to put a little bit extra. It's not forever, right? It's going to be for 12 to 15 weeks. But so what I would say is, yes, people who are working full time, this is still for you. But just realize that, okay, so at night, you're not going to be able to watch Netflix. Instead of watching Netflix, you'll watch Danny, but you'll actually learn something. So, it's
so much more fun.
Exactly. So.
Right. Okay. So yes, you can have a family and a job, and it won't be the most relaxing 15 weeks of your life, but it might be the most valuable.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then someone asked about FAFSA, Catholic college subsidies. So this is private, obviously. I think that this is not, there's not scholarships, but there's a discount tonight. So if you do need a discount, then take advantage of the code, I think would be the answer. Someone asked, will you be sending documents with a summary of this? So you answered that, right? We'll be sending.
Yeah, so we'll be sending a recording of the webinar from tonight.
Okay, to only people who already signed up. Before,
only people who have registered for the webinar will be getting a link. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. How many hours a day? So it's not like hours a day is the course. It's generally when you want it. So
exactly. So remember, you basically have a week to get through that week's material. So you can do it whenever you want. Now the live Zoom session will be at a certain time each week. And I usually feel out from the class what's going to be most available or great for majority of the class. But even those, if you're unable to make it, it's still recorded and it's put up. I try to do it within an hour afterwards, really. so that you get it right away. So really, theoretically, we don't even have to talk once throughout the 15 weeks, and you can create your own plan.
Amazing. Okay, so I think that answers a couple of the questions. Someone asked if the course is completely online, you do it on your own time, or is there specific virtual login times? So it's on your own schedule, is that right? But it's just weekly, like it's available weekly.
Exactly.
Right, but then assuming like if you're going to be really relying on the Slack channel, which it sounds like a lot of the students really love having, so then if you want to stay on schedule so that you're having the same conversation and doing the same kind of work that everyone else is.
Oh, totally. I mean, so your homework is due on a certain day. So you kind of pretty much have to get it done. I mean, some people will turn it in a little bit late, but yeah, I mean, if you're not, you have to keep up with the class. And otherwise it's going to get too hard. But the idea is in your week itself, like let's say this Sunday is really open, so you want to just get it done there. But next week your Sunday's really busy, so you might have to do nights. You know, so we try to, and the nice thing is we actually these cohorts, it's the week is going to be sort of, I think it's gonna be like Tuesday to Wednesday. So that means that you're going to get that whole weekend in the middle. So we try to make it as accessible and easy for people as possible. The last ones we did like Sunday to Sunday, so it was a little bit tough, but we've kind of changed a little bit, and hopefully that will help people.
Cool, right. So you get a nice slice of your week, and then if you just could do Sundays, you know, you're just 2 evenings a week, then you can fit that into your own schedule. Okay, so then someone asked if they want to know if Danny teaches the program. It's mostly you, right? But then you have some guest speakers.
So we have guest speakers, but the core content is me. However, I do have someone called Rifki Levin, who has taken the course herself, and she does help me, and she's really helpful. And it's also helpful, I'll give an example, but for some women, right? Like you coming into a class, and some people like haven't dealt with a male, like let's say, so they don't feel comfortable maybe speaking to me. So that's why it's really cool. Rifki's there. And if you want to speak to her directly, or if you have a question, she's there. She's really knowledgeable, and we tag team together to make it as comfortable and as easy for everyone.
Right. Okay. So you're getting the expert plus another woman to speak to. So
Exactly.
Doesn't seem like it gets better than that. So a couple of the same questions. You could start freelance. Oh, can you? Is the course structured in a way that you'll be able to start freelancing and creating campaigns while still going through the course? I mean, based on what Yisrael said, he said at week 8 he quit his job, right? Is that common?
I mean, I don't know if that's common, but it shows you that it's possible, right? I mean, it really depends, right? If it's clicking and you're excited about it, then yeah, like, and that's what it was. It was clicking. He's excited about it. He's like, you know, while other people, it's like, I don't know, you know? So I think that it's possible, but I think to be a little bit more realistic, like your average person, you kind of will need to go through the whole course, and you might need like an internship afterwards.
Okay, so someone, oh, I think I just clicked, oh, there it is. Okay, so someone writes, I'm working at an organization part-time where I'm helping with the advertising and donor base. Is this related to what I'm doing? If I start doing digital marketing, will I still have time at my part-time job to do the other responsibilities?
Totally. You can still, like we said, you can do a full-time job and do ODO. A part-time job would be fine. And the coolest part is everything you learn, you'll be able to apply to what you're doing in your job. And I think that even, I've got to remember, but I think some of the homework assignments were this semester, I say semester, but this cohort is going to be a little bit more flexible, where if you want to, you can apply it to your job. So like, let's say you want to do this homework instead of like the dentist example I use, you want to use it for your job. Like we're open to that so that it can be a little bit more targeted. So like, for example, Ezra, who was on before, like if he wanted to do this for his own job, you know, for his own business while he's taking the course, you can get that additional value.
Right, amazing. Is the course completely online, like do it in your own time? Okay, we answered that already. And then what's the difference between the all women's course and the regular course? Just that there are only women in this course, right?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. And as I said, it looks like that the general course may turn into a men's only course. So yeah, it's exactly the same. It's just who's in the actual group.
I can see why women would be more comfortable just being with other fellow women in the class. And
Yeah,
probably like, you know, the conversations and even on the Slack channel, just more comfortable.
Totally. And you know what's interesting is, you know, obviously we have a special target towards, you know, Orthodox women, but last cohort we had people who weren't even Jewish, And they actually said, like, we love the fact that it's a women's only course. And it really, it just thought it was really unique and special. So it's not about religion. It's not about anything. It's just something about having a crew and just feeling comfortable who you are. And, so yeah, we think it works really well.
Yeah, and I'm imagining like you can make like really good friends, and a lot of people in jobs like this, like the newer kinds of jobs that people didn't hear about until a year ago. So it's you go to the park or you go out to coffee with friends, and there's no one to talk to, and I feel like that's like invaluable to have your digital marketing friends.
Yeah, and I remember like even last cohort, like women were like posting events like in New York, like, hey, let's get together. Because, not everyone's in New York. Like we've had people in England and Israel, but like the people who happen to be in New York, hey, why don't we get together? And I think that's so cool. The nice thing is it's creating a community that's even outside of me, right? And like it's your community, and let's make it the most that you want out of it.
Right. Amazing. Okay. And then we have an attendee who asked what type of talent or skills you need to possess in order to succeed. And they're saying like, obviously we mentioned a little bit, but for any course, you need some talent in the area. So what would you say would be like the inborn talent, that if you have this, you could be pretty comfortable?
Like I said, I think you don't need experience, certain talents will help you, right? So if you're more of a creative person, then the creative parts of digital marketing is going to be easy for you, right? If you're not, then it's gonna be harder. So, but once again, like we said, there's room for all of you. But like Shana, we were talking about before, is you do have to be open to like the analytical side of things, because the more analytics you can apply, even to creative, the more marketable and valuable you become.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And then again, like, started off, take the first 2 weeks if you're really unsure, you'll get your money back. So to me, that's like a, no brainer. This is a really good question. Why would I choose this course over web design, web development course?
Ooh, web design and web development is very code focused, right? So you really have to be comfortable with code. But once again, there is a design aspect to it as well, right? So once again, there's a creative part and I don't want to say it's analytical, but like a coding part as well. I think it just depends, right? So in marketing, we're dealing more with people in a way, right? We're understanding people and trying to reach them and thinking what they're doing. I guess there's an element in website as well. So I don't have a great answer for it, but once again, website is very specific. In our course and digital marketing in general, there's many different areas. So it leaves it a little bit more open, where if I don't like one part, but there will be a part I want. Like if you don't like coding and web design, well, you're kind of out, like it's over.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that those things take a lot longer to learn, right? So,
yeah.
And web design, like if you think I have a lot of people who will tell me like web design, I'm not creative, so they know straight off the bat that they can't do that. But I think in digital marketing, am I right that you don't have to be that kind of like, pretty things creative, knowing what matches or, into color schemes or design, but you could still be really good at a lot of parts of digital marketing, even if you don't love that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then someone asked us, so then versus UX design, I think it would be similar, right? Because UX design is going to be, even more design focused. So if you love, the front end kind of work, then probably UX design is good. But then if you're comparing it, how would you compare?
Yeah, once again, it's very specific. It's like UX design is like graphic design, but you're designing websites. But there are some psychology that you need to think about as well. But once again, it's a very specific area, right? Some people say, oh, digital marketing is very specific, but it's not, right? There's many different aspects in it. And so it's just going to give you more room to see what you want. UX, or let's say web, is really, really narrow. And it could be for some people. It just really depends. And Shana, I want to stress your point again, where it's like those sort of things take, I feel like, a lot more time. Here, yes, it does take time as well, but it's a little bit quicker.
Right. Even if you take I know courses, a web design course, right? It will take months, and then even then you won't really be ready to start working. It will take a while to build up the kind of portfolio, for you to go get a job in an agency, or for you to get started, selling websites for $1,000, $5,000 each. So I think we're really talking about, this is like, faster to jump into, quicker to learn. And like the students, themselves said, they're really ready to go in. Plus, it's interesting because it sounds like you give a certain amount of technical comfort, like Hai went and built her own website. She wouldn't have done that before.
Right.
So it sounds like, if you're interested in technology, someone's asking about, so I'm more creative, less technical. If I don't like one part, can I skip it?
That's a
It
great
sounds like
question.
you have to take it, but you don't have to use that in your job, right?
Yeah, so this is what I like to tell people, that in order to get the certification, I'm just going to answer another question while I do this, is that, look, Odeo is not an accredited university, right? So you will get a certificate or a certification or completion, depending on what you do. But once again, it's not an accredited, like this is not the University of Texas or Columbia or NYU. So just keep that in mind. But I'm not, I stand by what I teach. And if anyone looks me up, it's a real deal. And you can also show, in the end, you have your portfolio. So it's not just, hey, look at my certificate. It's like, hey, look at this 50 pages of what I can do for you. So it's not just a piece of paper, there's something behind it. Now I lost my train of thought.
Well, you were saying you're comparing the technical degree and then if you could skip certain parts, right?
Oh, skip certain parts, yes. So what I do is, because people don't necessarily all love every part, in order to get your completion or certification badge, I only require you to do 8 out of the 11 weeks. So meaning if you find that there's 1 or 2 weeks where it's just, man, this is way too hard, or I just don't like it, then it's totally fine. You can still complete the course and get everything you need, and you'll be fine. So that's why I allow that flexibility. Now, you'll still, you won't be able to jump to the next one. It just means that week you may not do everything, but it's fine. Don't feel bad about it. That's why I'm giving that flexibility. And often people will choose maybe 1 or 2 weeks that, they don't love.
So much better than school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. You don't really like this subject. You should just, take a break. Okay. So then people are asking if, a couple of social media questions, right? How much do I need to know if someone has no background, that has never used social media? And if they're not comfortable on it, is it required?
So the answer is that in digital marketing, there is an area of social media like Facebooking and putting on Instagram, but the course doesn't really focus on that. So we try to focus on those areas that don't have to do social. The only thing is, the second to last week, we do focus on advertising on social media. And that is like advertising on any platform. Like it didn't have to be social media. It could be anything. So the way I would look at that is, you're learning about how to target people and to advertise your product or services. You could do that on Google. You could do that on Yeshiva World News, and you can do it on Facebook. And so you're not involved in Facebook in like the social aspect. It's more like you're using the data of Facebook in order to find your audience. So that's the only type of social that we touch. So for those people, once again, who are in your community, social media is like not the thing that you want to be doing. Majority of the course is not even touching it.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then we got asked twice, do you recommend your students to companies just from taking this course? Are you confident that they would make great employees?
Yes. I mean, obviously, I'm honest. Like, I'm not going to push someone I see that, didn't work hard. But yeah, my goal really is, I want as many people from my course to get a job. And I want the opportunity, and I want to push them. Like, that's success to me, because that's why we're doing this, right? We're not just doing this to have, give people work to do, or just to, have fun at night, but it's really so that you can make a difference in your life and get a parnasa. And just like the passion that I have for digital marketing, I want to light that on you as well.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Another question, I'm not sure if we got exactly the right answer about social media, was I'm hesitant to work with social media. I would imagine that if you're not freelancing and you don't have to do everything for clients, right? If you're working as part of a team, you could be the SEO expert, right? You can be the analytics expert. Like you can avoid social media completely, especially if you're not working for yourself, right?
Yeah, and even in a scenario where, let's say, social media is part of your job, then you just make it clear, like, okay, you do it at the office, and you don't have to have your own profile. Like, the office will have a profile, the company will have a profile. You'll do what you need to, but then that's it, what it is. And then when you go home, you're not connected to it. So once again, for every single person, not every company or job is going to be for you and your lifestyle. So you'll have to find that arena and what you're going to feel comfortable doing. But the point is that social media is not like the be all and end all of digital marketing. And then for those people, I see a question here about, you know, I'm interested about social media. So you know what, great, that's what's so cool about our class. Then any night, just say, hey, Danny, can we talk about social media and the different platforms? And then we'll do it. Let's talk about it in the pros and cons. The Q&A time is open for anyone and anything. So if there's a certain video that's not covered, but it doesn't mean we can't cover it in the course. And you know, I would still want to give my guidance and expertise on that.
Yeah, amazing. Now the internships, right? People who do want to get placed. So would someone have to quit their full-time job to do that, or there could be virtual?
Yeah, no, the internship specifically through Acadian, which is what I push, is a totally virtual. And I think they expect 5 to 10 hours a week. So they're expecting it's people who aren't doing it full time. And therefore you could still be working your full job. So think of it as like, excuse me, you did Odeo, and then now you're moving into an internship where you're, you know, spending maybe 2 hours a night, a little bit of time on Sunday, and getting things done, even while you're doing your full-time job, which is really cool. So yeah, the whole point here is that you could be like Yisrael and in week 8 decide, hey, I'm ready to jump it all the way, that the Nachshon ben Aminadab of our people, or you might need a little bit more time, and that's also fine, but we're giving you the steps so that you can get there. And even without, you know, you don't have to leave your job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now someone's asking again, I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to like address the copywriting piece. So what, yeah, I guess you probably know what they mean.
Totally. So the question is like, I can imagine the question is like, hey, I'm not a writer. What do I do? So, and I even had this with someone last week, like, hey, like they want me to write, but I don't write. So the answer is, if you're a writer, awesome, then this is going to be amazing. If you're not a writer, then I'm teaching you how to tell a writer what to do. What should they include? You know, what are the topics? What are the keywords? And that means you don't have to write it, but you are like the master planner. And I've given you the tools of what do you need to include in this piece of content so that it's going to be valuable. And then who's going to write it? Well, I give you a couple hints of different places where you could find writers and that aren't that expensive, or there might be a writer on the staff that at your office who can be the writer, right? So once again, you know yourself, are you a writer, are you not? And either way, I'm going to give you a solution. And then when it comes to the job, then you have to figure out, like, if the job requires writing, then doesn't mean and you're not a good writer, you could still go to the interview and say, I know I'm not a good writer, but you know what? I can add more value than a writer. And for the actual writing, I know what we can do. And they might be really impressed. Whoa, I never thought about that. I'm going to hire you, right? So there's always ways around it.
Yeah, okay, amazing. So you could or you could not. It's not dependent on your writing skills. It's really whatever's more fun for you is the way I see it. Is there any benefit in getting a degree in addition to this course, or this could be enough?
Certain jobs require degrees. So if you're looking at a certain company or situation that requires a degree, then you might need a degree. But you don't need a degree in order to learn what you're learning in the course, right? So what you're learning in the course is there. The degree is just, you know, as Shana can tell you, certain jobs, just one of the requirements is a degree. So it just depends what you're looking for.
Yeah,
I have some, there are some women who are taking my course, this cohort, that were part of Sarah Schneer. I don't know if they graduated or didn't or in the middle, but like they did it, but they're still taking the course, right? So it, like, you can either like college and the course, or the course and college, you know, it one doesn't exclude the other. And the price of the course is cheaper than like one semester of college. So you could just add it on as this is
one class of college.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right, one class. So you just add it on as like one more class of college, but that's the class that, you know, that did it for me.
Right. Yeah, I think people are starting to like realize, and it's a very hard thing to grasp. Like, you know, of course I'll spend $100,000 on my degree, but you want me to spend $2,500 like on a class, but it's like, yeah, this $2,500 could be all you need instead of that degree. I mean, and I can tell you from people who've been asking me, you know, if I know of any of your students who I recommend, I've never got asked if the person had a college degree. Nobody who's hiring has ever cared. Yeah. So someone's asking if you need a master's degree or BA, doesn't matter. I have a master's degree in education, and I'm sure that if I wanted to, get a job in digital marketing, nobody would ever ask me. I can make a brand new LinkedIn profile that didn't include anything besides this course, and I do believe that it would be enough. If you are not, if I can't join right now, are you planning to do this again? Somebody wants to know.
So please God, we can do it many times for many more years, but like I said, there's no guarantees. So if this looks interesting, I highly suggest you sign up now.
Yeah, and I think like if someone's worried like they won't have the time right now, whatever they have going on in their family or whatever it is, like I think that if you sign up now, you do as much as you can. The course is open forever, once you're in it. So like I don't really see, any reason why it would be terrible, especially if you're worried about the payments. You could do it monthly. It seems like it's broken down in a pretty fair amount. So yeah, and then are the internships paid?
So through the internships through Acadium are not paid. And I know there's a whole discussion and on LinkedIn, I've seen that a lot, like internships should be paid. So like, we don't need to get into that. These specific internships are not, but I'm sure there are paid internships as well. So it just really depends. The idea of Acadium is getting more practical experience, and that's valuable, right? So you might not be paid, but at least you're getting paid in experience. But yeah, so that's the idea.
Right. I mean, and on the other hand, I would say that probably internships are for people who want them. If you're asking that question because you need to get paid, because you wouldn't afford to, put in this much time and money and then not see any money right away, I think that you could. It's just about your confidence and comfort level. I don't think that there's someone who would graduate the course, know their stuff and then not be able to land work, based on what I'm seeing, is happening with the graduates and with the way that people are excited to grab them up. Okay, then is specific. Oh, okay. So wait, should I be getting a degree in addition to this course? We said not necessary unless it's to make your parents feel good, which happens pretty often. I work as a graphic designer. What would I learn in this course? No, would what I learn in this course work in tandem with designing, or is it a totally separate part of the field?
Ooh, so if you're doing graphic design mostly for print, then it's not going to be totally related. Like if you did like graphic design for web, then like we open up your eyes to actual web designers and web developers who might not even know anything about SEO. So I think for you, there will be parts of like, maybe like the psychological part of understanding people better. But if you're looking for something that's like exactly fits graphic design, it's not like an exact connector.
Yeah, okay, that's a great answer. And then is there someone wants to know, I guess they're like, am I the one person who would be terrible at this? So, or that's the way I would have thought of it. Is there a specific case that would not be a good fit for this course or field? So, if you've seen people fail out of your course or of your class in college, how would you describe that type?
I think it's the people who aren't willing to put in the effort and work. Like if you think that you're going to be able to take this and it's not going to require effort, then it's not for you. But if you're like, hey, I want to really give it my all, and I know that sometimes it's going to be hard, but I've got the help there to push me along and what I need, then you're good. So it's not a type of person. It's just like, are you willing to work hard and give it your all? If you're not, then this might not be for you.
Right. Okay. And then I guess like I'm hearing the question is like, well, what if I'm not smart enough? Right. And I don't think that there's such a thing. I think it's like, you might be smart with your words, you might be smart with your design, you might be smart with your like computation abilities, or so many other things. And you could choose any of those and you're going to have a well-rounded just like knowledge in things that are important in any business nowadays, right? Coming in after taking this course is pretty valuable. Someone asked, I don't see the question now, but I noticed pop up before about, will people, is this like valuable to put it on your resume? So I'm going to answer this because I've seen people really get excited when they know that someone graduated ODO. I mean, have you seen that?
Oh, totally. And the best part also is like, also to see the transformation of the resume. And I know this is Shayna's expertise, but like, imagine you see a resume, like I went to this seminary, I went to that seminary, I do medical billing, and I kind of do photography on the side. And then suddenly we're like, change the whole thing. And it's like, I'm a digital marketer. I worked on this project and I have these skills. And my photography is great for web design as well. And you like change it's like a makeover, right? So yes. So my point is you can add it to your resume, it's going to change it, but it will also allow you to change up everything and like position it in a really cool way.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, is it helpful if your main goal is social media? I would say yes. What would you
Totally,
say?
totally. Because
Yeah.
I think social media is a lot of it is very natural. And what we're giving you is all the other things that are going to make you super successful, which you wouldn't just
Right,
get
yeah.
from being a natural.
Right. I think the reason we were saying about social media is like if someone doesn't want to, they don't have to. But if your goal is to be, to be able to advertise that you do Google, Facebook ads, or you know how to do organic, right, organic, what's the word?
SEO.
Right, organic search, then
Yeah.
100%, like then you're really in the right place. And then how would this course compare to a copywriting course?
Ooh, so I even know who you're talking about.
Right.
Copywriting courses are really, really good. But once again, that is related solely to writing. Here, we will touch on some writing, but I'm not teaching you like how to write, how to write conversion copy and getting people. It's going to be, there are writing components, and it's going to be more about what do you need to include in your writing so that you're going to show up in Google. Because you could write a very strong, once someone reads the article, they're going to buy your stuff. But if no one finds the article in the first place, then what's the point? So what we're trying to teach you is how do you get that article to even show up so that people find it? Now, the copywriting course will help you that once they get there, what's the way that I should do it so that they can actually buy? So the two courses actually work really well together. It's just different sides of the coin.
Right. I mean, I see copywriting more as like developing a very specific skill, right? And digital marketing more as strategy, business development, like a lot wider than copywriting.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a big fan of probably the same course that you're mentioning. If you want to get a job as a copywriter, or if you want to freelance as a copywriter, but if you were a copywriter business owner, you probably would be really excited about taking this course to lead people to your site and to help your clients. Yeah, okay. And then you would probably understand this question better than me. Does marketing change less than front-end libraries? I have a background in design development, but feel like I'm not getting anywhere with all the changes. How would you compare that?
Ooh, I'm not exactly sure what they're referring to.
Oh, okay. So it's not just me.
Yeah, no. I mean, front-end library.
Well, I think it changed. I think they're saying is that front-end libraries change so often, right? Is marketing changing at the same? Does it change at the same pace?
Oh, that's cool. Like we didn't really cover this topic. So yes, one thing to keep in mind is that digital marketing is changing all the time. So yeah, so some of my videos like might not be valid in a week from now, and then I just need to go and update it. And if I do, I'll let you know. But yes, you do have to be aware that you will be entering a world where things are changing. So if you're the type of person who like doesn't like that and they just want to like, they learned, I don't mean to trash accountants, but I'm saying like if like you like accountancy and the rules change like a little bit here and there and you got to do your continuing education courses, but overall like accounting is accounting since 100 years ago. This is not that. This is changing, but like that's exciting for some people, right? So it just really depends on your personality and what you like to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And then could people upgrade? Someone's asking, right? If they do that, they start with the standard and then they realize that they do want those extra, bunch of things that you offer, right? The 4 hours and the 1 hour with you.
Yeah. So you can definitely buy one-on-one in the future. At this price, no, but it will be a discounted price because you are my student. You will have the opportunity to buy one-on-one time with me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, and this person clarified, like changing from CSS to LESS or SAS, then SCSS. And okay, this is all way beyond my pay grade. I don't know these languages.
Yeah, I think, what I would say for this specific question, feel free to go to the website. At the bottom is my email. If you want to email me and we can talk about this, I have no problem.
Okay,
just to
yeah,
understand
you sound smart, whoever you are, and you know a lot about something that I don't understand. Will you be helping with the changes in digital marketing along the way? You said that you constantly update the library, right? They get access to anything new that you would be teaching your
Exactly.
team?
So if it's directly related to what I do, and let's say there's a new change, then yes, we have to update that, and you'll be notified. So yeah, so I do my best to keep things up to date. And then even in the future, you'll be notified.
Amazing. Okay, did we get through? I want to make sure we didn't miss anyone. There are a lot of questions that keep coming in. Okay, if we by mistake missed your question, which I don't think we did, or if you just wanted a more, particular question to your unique situation, then, please email either of us. You said at the end, at the bottom of the site, right, they can email you?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to type in that so I know people could just be?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Example.
I will go ahead and I'm going to type in, and really it's just support@odioacademy.com. So you can reach me that way, support@odioacademy.com. It's just.
Yeah, and I see someone was like on the phone here raising their hand, so maybe that person, I don't know if,
Yeah, and that's once again, like today I actually had like 4 or 5 phone calls. So like, if I can also put my phone number for the office line, if people want to call, that's also fine. Or if you want to schedule a time to speak, that's also fine.
oh, okay, perfect. I see you added your, okay. One person said that she still had another question. Okay, so if you respond right now, we'll be happy to go back to it.
Oh, I think here's Esty's question. She said, if I can't join right now, are you planning on doing this again? So if that's your question that you're referring to, please God, we'll be doing it again. But once again, like all the particulars, we don't know. So yeah. Oh, you want to know what nights and times of the classes. So once again, most of it you're doing on your own. With regards to the once a week live Zoom class, I really have to look at the group and see what's going to work for the majority of them. So sometimes it will be night, sometimes it's like a lunchtime. But if you can't make one of those, then everything is still recorded. So time should not be a factor with you. No matter who you are, you'll be able to take the course. And then here's another one, not to jump on it, Shayna, but like, is this generally a virtual career or must in person if working with a company? It depends on the company. So like some companies that Shayna sent over recently, like they're very clear, like our culture is in the office. So you got to come to, I think it was like, I don't know, it's Borough Park. You got to be in the office. While other people, it's okay. Like you can do it virtual. I know sometimes it's like you can do it virtual, but like, so imagine like their office is in Brooklyn, but you live in Lakewood. So like, you can work from home, but once a week you need to come in, or once every 2 weeks, or sometimes it's totally virtual. So it just really depends. But that's like, once again, once you're done and you're looking for that job, you have to look at like the different options.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then do you see this question? One more question popped up here.
Yeah. Yes. Once you sign up, you get access to everything from now until the end. So yes, you'll have access to everything. And like Aurora said earlier, even now in her new job, when there's a certain topic that comes up and she doesn't remember, she'll go back in and watch the video to remind her of what she needs to do. So that's a pretty cool option as well.
Amazing. Okay. Anything else? We'll be here. I guess we'll watch for another minute or so if anything else pops up. Otherwise, just email us. I'm coach@shaynakaren.com. You can just message me on my site too.
Yeah, and I wanted to give a plug for Shayna, but Shayna is an amazing coach. And a lot of people do come to her for advice. So whether it's digital marketing or anything else, Shayna is the person to go to when it comes to career advice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to put in my email if anyone has a question that I can help with making this decision, because obviously we only want people who are going to be really successful, who are going to, be someone who's going to be able to have that amazing story. So, anyone who joins, we want you to be able to come on next time and tell your incredible story about how you were sitting on tonight and you didn't know if it was a good choice or not, and now you have a great new job or making tons of money or whatever it is. So that's really, we want people who it's going to be right for them in their career. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Such a great crowd, such good questions. Amazing.
Shayna, there's a couple more that we can do. Can you get the discount on the 4 payments? Yes, you can. That discount will just be on the first payment. And then has the course evolved since it started? Definitely. So we've gone back into the homeworks in particular, and those questions and things that were a little bit harder for students, we made sure to go over and make it easier. Also the cool part is that since I've done this twice before, all those Q&A sessions we've itemized, and then added those back in. So there's like so much more video now than before, and so many more topics. So like the added value now is even, more than before. Yeah, I think, let's see, was there one that came in?
Okay, is there anything else that I missed here?
I think that's a wrap.
Excellent. Okay, what a great audience. Amazing.
Super. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Shayna, for your insight and for running such a wonderful meeting.
Thank you so much. Okay, hope to see you all in the course.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
night. Bye-bye.